Hi, I'm Shane, and here on TikTok, I just finished reading my high school diary entries 35 years to the day they were written. Today we have the This Week in 1990 update for June 14th to June 20th. June 14th begins with the following quote. I washed walls with Mark today. He was listening to NWA, a rap group. Every song was like, fuck, fuck, mother. Bobby calls me and tells me that we are going to double date with my friend Peggy and her boyfriend Jason, who is not the Jason that I took to prom. But he won't tell me what we're going to do. We end up going to see Pretty Woman, and I mentioned that I think I'd be pretty good in the Julia Roberts role. We get ice cream at Gertie's, and then we walk downtown by the lake and Buckingham Fountain. This from the entry. Bobby was a nice date. He was polite and gentlemanly and all. But it was like a deja vu of the Charlie Bianco debacle. I just have no feelings for him. Odd as it may seem, I kept comparing him to Dean. Consciously, too. I guess I do miss Dean. That night, I call Hannah, and she totally understands. She wants to set me up with her current boyfriend's roommate. Martin pulls a major I told you so because he didn't want me to go out with Bobby at all, and he brings up the sailor and the hickey. June 15th is a Friday, and the Summer Theater clique meets at Molly's house during the day to swim. I think maybe I like Gus, and maybe he likes me. I have to work at 5, but at 4:20, Dwight from Denny's calls and says I was supposed to be there at 4. Oops! I go in, I'm the only waitress, and I make $68. I write, I was going nuts. Weird Mary and Shar didn't show up. I was evil. I was on a rampage. That night, my brother Mark comes up to Denny's for a ride home and tells me that some guy he was hanging out with that night is in love with me. I like Gus. I want to be with Dean. I worship Ryan. The entry for June 16th is an insert, meaning like a folded piece of paper tucked into the notebook, and it is missing. On June 17th, I say that I didn't go to bed the night before until 3 a.m. I stayed up and watched Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and I want to play Andie MacDowell's part. I am forced to get up at 9 a.m. and we give my dad his Father's Day gifts. And the thing that we got him, and I remember this quite clearly, was this beer optical illusion thing that I think we got at like Spencer's in the mall, where you plugged it in and it was like a tap kind of floating in the air, and then like a plastic mug that looked like glass, and it looked like beer was pouring into it over and over. Just set it on a counter and let it run, I guess. That day is my graduation party, and I make a list of the people who came, my friends who came on my behalf. Hannah, Wendy, Ryan, Bunny, Max, Finn, Bobby, Peggy, Peggy's Jason, Siobhan, John O'Driscoll, Brandy O'Leary, Kirk, Kurt, Phil, Luke, Lynette, Steve, Gus, Cody Johnson, Murph, Derek, and Annabelle. I note that my Aunt Elaine got me a Creighton sweatshirt for graduation, and that my grandpa wrote a check to Creighton for a significant amount, but put a note in the memo that had my grandma's name and scholarship. And my mom and I, before we even talked about this entry, maybe a couple of weeks ago, she was saying, remember Grandpa wrote you that check? And it was a whole kerfuffle at Creighton because they were like, what is this scholarship? You didn't list this on, scholarships received on your application. And we had to go through a whole rigmarole to just be like, no, it was just a gift from my grandfather. On this day, I write, on his way here, Ryan was in an accident. 2 cicadas flew into his car and landed on him. He pulled his leg up, releasing the brake and hitting the guy in front of him. At the party, Ryan is awesome and flirty. I note that I am pretty rude to Bobby, and that 2 months from today, I start college. On June 18th, I go to Lawn Aqua with Wendy, and I am pissed that it cost $5 to get into the pool and say that I could just as well have laid in my backyard. We go to F&M, we get Slurpees, and we drive my brother Mark and his friend Jake around on a million errands. That night, I go up to West Side Story rehearsal and laugh a lot with Gus and Michael. Afterwards, a bunch of us go to Fox's for pizza, and I write this. The word for the summer is bummer, but you have to say it a certain way, like this one guy says it in Parenthood. I guess I need to rewatch Parenthood because I don't know what I'm talking about there. Was it Keanu Reeves? I have no recollection of a specific pronunciation of the word bummer from that movie that would make it so iconic that we had to say it all summer long. I note that Michael is a few years older and talks to me about asking someone my age out. I figure it's Molly. I wished it was me. It was neither of us. He tells me he is put off by Molly and the way that she gossips. That night, Finn drives me home. I adore Ryan. Gus is asking someone else out, and Michael says that he thinks I seem high maintenance. On the 19th of June, I am around the house all day. I clean, I write graduation thank you notes, and I talk to Hannah and James. That night, I work at Denny's from 5 to 12, and I get my first check, which is for 20.5 hours, and the net is $17.77 because my tips are getting taxed, and I did not realize that's how it worked. That night, theater friends come into Denny's after rehearsal, and I note that Michael is so nice. He is getting some things for my little brother Andy from his work, although I don't know where he worked or why that would be a relevant thing that a 3-year-old would want. The girl that he asked out is also at Denny's that night, and when she's not looking, I say I make some kind of funny, goofy, sexy eyes at him. On June 20th, I am home all day, I finish my thank you notes, and I fight with Martin. He was struggling because I was hanging out with people that he didn't know. He wasn't in the show, and I was like, oh, you're hanging out with them all the time now? So just a little tiff. That night, Mrs. Harrigan, who was directing West Side Story, fired, I mean, it wasn't a paid role, but she dismissed the person that she had cast as Bernardo. And it was drama-rama because that does not happen in community theater. It was clear to all of us that he wasn't working out. He wasn't, I don't know, capable of doing the role. And she let him go. And it was like bonkers drama. That night, we go out for burritos after rehearsal, and I say something about how nice Michael is and that he is moving away to California at the end of the summer and how much I'm going to miss him. All right, I'll see y'all real soon.